What you doing, man? Where are you coming from?
Getting it on right now. From radio, I had an interesting interview that you might find interesting with Dennis Rodman. Mm-hmm. I know his agent, and of course I know Dennis. And I told the agent, I said, Dennis is doing remarkably well right now. And I said, look.
What's that mean?
I mean, his recovery and that kind of stuff, like really getting himself together.
How long has he been sober?
I don't know the number because I'm not like directly involved with him, but I have seen what's going on. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm. And you can tell.
I could tell, and there's some relationships being rekindled that I was working on way back when with him that he's now in with, and it's all good. I can just tell things are going well with him. And so I told his agent, I said, he should take a bow. He should take a bow for having sort of been a little bit ahead of his time with the North Korea thing, and say what you will, you know. You know what I mean? He was excoriated for doing it. And I thought at least somebody ought to say, sorry, Dennis, maybe you did something that led to world peace here. I think he deserved a bow. So I interviewed him, and he was very enthusiastic. And he said, look, he goes, I thought the Korean people were interested in peace and having a relationship with the United States. I say what you will about the leaders. I just felt like it was time had come. And he goes, Trump wants all the credit. I don't care. Good. Fine. But I feel like, I want to feel like I did my little piece for world peace. But good for him.
Yeah, I don't know that it's weird you say excoriated. It's like it's more like I think he turned himself into a cartoon character.
Yeah.
And so people now sort of received him as such.
Yeah.
And I think there's always a danger in creating a cartoon character out of yourself because once you do that, then people think they can talk in front of you like they're talking in front of Yosemite Sam Mudflaps, to say anything about you or
kick
to
them
you.
or treat them or whatever the way you would like just a drawing.
Yeah, he's and then you could go, well, don't you think that would hurt his feelings? Yeah, what's his feelings?
Yeah,
What's he know?
right.
He's drunk somewhere right now.
I would
on top
argue
of somebody. Like,
I
he
would
doesn't know
argue that
anything.
most celebrities get at least a little of that. At least a little, if not a lot. Just everybody that is a public figure.
Oh, yeah. Everybody who's a public figure gets an element of
Not a real person. Or who cares?
Well, I actually, if you think about the math on that, not a real person, you have the public figure version of it.
Yeah.
And then you have the homeless guy version of it. Like you just step over people that are laying on the ground. Like, not a real person. You know what I mean? Like there's a high and a low of the not a real person. Like members of the royal family, I don't think of as real people. And then there's the guy who's just across the street and he's just pushing a lawnmower. I go, that guy's not a real person. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have to worry about him.
I would argue both is weak to feel that way. We all do it. I'm not saying you do it. I say we all do it.
I don't think people actively do it.
It's a weakness.
It's not a weakness. Well, hold the phone. When it comes to stepping over the homeless guy, it's a default setting that we would be racked with misery and angst and guilt and whatever. It's the same thing we have when we hear about the maritime disaster in the Philippines that claimed, 766 souls. Like he just is a party that just kind of goes, well, man, life's a bitch,
It's an incident.
Yeah, it's an incident. and then you move on. Like you don't sit there trying to eat your meal that night and then put your fork and knife down and go, I can't finish. You know what I mean?
I got to tell you,
don't be a puss and a hero.
No, it's not being a hero.
That way. I weep openly for the people of the Philippines.
No, listen, not being a hero. The homeless thing really bugs me in this town.
It bugs me, but you're still eating your meat and your eggs.
I mean, my eggs. But it bothers me like when I was in New York last week, it was a relief. Because it's not, they have homeless people, but they're like, they're cared for the most part. And they're sort of around here and there. They're not everywhere and just lying in the streets like they are here.
No, I agree. But back to your, my initial premise.
Yeah.
Which is you don't look at Dennis Rodman as a human.
Yeah.
And you don't look at the homeless person as a human.
Yeah.
And when you're traveling on the highways and the byways of this great country and you pass through one of those toll booths, and boy, you pass through a lot of toll booths like on the East Coast and stuff when you're traveling around, and there's the middle-aged, paunchy mother of three who's just standing there in the cold. You don't look at her as a person either. It's just you're just passing through. You don't want something evil to happen to her. You're just passing through. She's just a person you need to throw some change at to get through the gate, to get to the next part of the thing, to get to the gig, to get to the whatever, to the airport. Mm-hmm. So I think everyone is guilty of that. The question is this, Drew. Mm-hmm. What are you capable of doing to that person who isn't a person to you?
To help them or hurt them?
There's people who will happily kill that person because they're not people to them.
Yeah.
And then there are people who go online and some celebrity could be threatening suicide and they would egg them on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the question is not so much about do you look at Dennis Rodman as a person or not, or a homeless guy as a person or not, or the toll booth operator as a person or not, but what are you doing to help or hurt? And what are you capable of doing? And jumping online and sort of encouraging these people to go down a dark path or to do something negative or to be negative. That to me is when we're crossing into a territory now.
And we've crossed.
Not me.
No, not you. You're perfect.
Thank you.
But that kind of stuff, it really bugs me these days. Don't you think that we need to be in a world where people think about speaking nicely to the toll booth operator? At least you could do that. Mm-hmm. And not treating celebrities as objects, just treating them as people. You may not like them, whatever. Yeah, but I mean, rather than piling on or stepping over, both are extreme. I think those are relatively now phenomenon. I don't think this country has always been that. I think we're kind of into a phase right now.
Well,
where it's excessively that way.
The piling on is something that's always existed. I'm going to sound like Don King.
Yeah.
But we've resisted. We've always wanted human beings as an instinct have a piling on instinct, a hoardy kind of piling on instinct. Mobby.
Yeah.
But decorum has prevented us from doing this. Now, decorum is gone because you go online and it's like, our president's a fucking ass shit clown. Fuck that douche fuck clown shit. And it's like, all right, I'd say that's decorum is gone out the window, right?
Yeah, and then some picture of him on somebody else's head on somebody else's body,
right,
getting reamed in some way.
So I sort of miss that decorum because you can't really legislate decorum. Decorum is sort of the quiet. It is the mortar that kind of holds the bricks of society together. We can't. If I walk my dog, and I do every day, and my dog takes a dump on your lawn, which it did today, not your lawn, but somebody's lawn, there's nothing that's going to stop me. There's no force that'll make me pick up that dog's Duke. Yeah. I can walk. There's nobody around. Yeah. It's never coming back to me.
Right.
There's a thing that's built in, which is I shall stop and pick this up.
Yeah.
Because it's the right thing to do.
Right. That's rare.
We're getting way away. We're getting away from that.
Not only are we away from that and decorum, but the fact that we don't have fathers around, that they sort of historically, at least certain psychological theorists would say, they represent society. And if dad abandons you, hurts you, beats you, whatever, that's the way now you feel about the general world.
Mm-hmm.
And that we have that also. So we have a triple whammy, right? Which is we no longer behave as though our behavior should be an axiom for good behavior. In other words, do it because it's right. We no longer have sense of decorum or any kind of decorum, sort of the standards of decorum. And we have a world that we hate because we hate our debt, society that we hate. So it's a really bad combo. No wonder people treat people like cartoon characters and pile on and step over. It's.
I have thoughts for you.
Am I wrong?
No. There's one instance. You may have just gotten lucky and been right. I'll tell you guys about Butcher Box.
Oh, yeah.
Delivers healthy, 100% grass-fed.